Okay, first up is Daisy, and yeah, this is looking really good. I think you've done a good job with all the detail. It looks like a good clean model. Um, might have gone a little, had that little switch. I think the legs and feet these look a little narrow to me. I feel like they'd be a little wider that way. Again, I know you can't really tell from the front. It's just kind of eyeballing it. And yeah, I would probably say this cube could be a little longer this way. Also, I feel like it's more rounded in the front. If we take this bevel, we could actually still change that by adjusting the, what is it, is it the fraction? See how that's a little more rounded in front now? You can even round this one a little bit more. I'm holding down the control key to, yeah, I feel like this one is more similar. Maybe it's a little flatter, just a little bit, a little longer. Maybe not so flat. I don't know. Yeah, they look kind of long. Maybe something. Yeah, it's quite a bit different from what you had, so I feel like that's a little closer to that. But I mean, these are just small details. Overall, I think you've done a really good job on this, and yeah, you've got all the pieces in there, and it looks really good. Next up is Xenon, and yeah, I mean, I guess what I like that you've done some things your own way, but overall, at least for these first few modules, I'd really encourage you to follow the lesson. Um, Partly because I'm just trying to make sure I've demonstrated a lot of things that we'll be using more later. I like the way you've done the seam on this arm. I think that's cool, but I also think you kind of like this has the shoulder, the elbow, and the wrist kind of joints, if you will. But yours just has the two and then the hand, and so I feel like it's missing sort of a middle one and kind of a bend in the arm. I like the curved thing about this grate, which I think is good, although I would say that these should be narrower. If you look at the distance between, the distance of the metal is much smaller than the distance of the gap, but in your case they're about even. So I would narrow those and maybe bevel them. And oh wow, so you've done a whole thing here. That's interesting. Yeah, that works okay. Yeah, I would put little bevels on this. You might want to get that kind of rippled thing to the whatever this is, the light on his head hat, I guess it is. I like that you've added this piece for the seam there. So I mean, I guess I don't mind you adding extra things, but what I would say is, do all the basic stuff the way I've done it first, and then if you want to improve or embellish on it from there, go ahead. It looks like you got pretty close with this thing, but you probably need more detail. It's not very rounded on the top. And yeah, these pieces should be beveled as well. I like that you've added this extra compartment, but it looks like there's two legs on top of each other. You probably don't need both, right? You probably just do this one. But then that one would need to be beveled. And it looks like the feet sort of got doubled up or something too. So there's, it's okay. And I like that you've kind of branched out and done some stuff of your own. But there's some issues with the geometry here. There's some wacky stuff going on that's a little bit problematic, like here and there. I mean, I guess it's only really here that it's really a problem. The way you've done this is kind of the surface breaks a little bit, but it's not a very sound way to build a surface because you have this face with many sides, and that's not a great way to do it. But yeah, so in general, I would say follow the lesson, just follow along, and then again, if you want to expand on that once you've got everything right, do that. But start with the basic one. Okay, this is Zirong, and yeah, this is looking really good. I think might have gone a little more even in the different shapes of the arm. I mean, I think all of these would be the same size as each other, looks like to me. Also, be good to, this mouth grate thing butts up right against the top of the chest, but here there's kind of a gap there, so I might give yourself a little more room, scooch that stuff all upwards. This looks good, but you could bevel those edges a little bit to make that a little nicer. And what else? The feet look kind of blocky and big. I might, I don't know if it'll let me at this point without messing it up, but you know, round this front a little bit more, and then I'm just adjusting these bevels after the fact. Yeah, then round the top of that a little bit better. And I think flatten this a little bit. I think that to me looks closer to the foot than that one does. But yeah, for the most part, I think this is good. You know, the stuff I've pointed out is fairly small changes, and I think you've done a nice job. Next up is Tara, and yeah, this looks good. I think I don't know that. That's interesting. I wonder if I always pictured these as complete loops. I think they are complete loops, but I like what you've done here because in a way that makes a little more sense that it would be something that could kind of grasp like that. I think the thing I don't like about it so much is that they're a little stretched, but you know, I might just even that out again. I think I like it consistent with the kind of round shapes rather than elongated. But yeah, I like that you've added these extra panels. That's a nice touch. Feet are looking pretty good. I might increase this bevel a little bit. A little bit more rounded. I think that looks closer than that. Yeah, all around this looks pretty good. I might have gone a little wider on the a little deeper here on the body and the head actually. I feel like that could be a little thicker. At this point, I mean, one thing you'll notice is, you know, after you've like beveled stuff, when you scale it, it scales the bevel too, and it kind of messes it up. So one thing you can do is instead just select the vertices and then move those back, and then you know it keeps the same relative amount of bevel while stretching the surface out. But yeah, this is looking very good. And this is Sam, and yeah, another good looking one here. Might have gone a little bigger with this bevel here, a little rounder. And what else? Yeah, these are looking very thick, the height on those, so I'd flatten those out a bit. As I was showing with the last one, if you scale it, you scale the bevel too, so it would actually be better to just pick these and move these up. You could try adjusting these bevels after the fact. Sometimes it freaks out when you do that. But this seems to be working. So to me that looks a little closer, maybe a little longer front to back. Again, be better off moving the verts than scaling because it maintains a consistent bevel size if I do that. So that looks a little bit more like the photo to me. Yeah, and might make this lower arm segment a little longer, move these out a little bit. But overall looking really good. You got all the pieces in there. Looks nice. Maybe the arm's a little longer. This seems to kind of stick out and down further, and this barely clears the bottom of the thing here. So I think maybe, you know, this segment longer and that segment longer, and then the hand down a little lower. But overall looking good.